Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Wrestlers haven't exactly been known for their fantastic contributions to the film industry over the years. Aside from The Rock, no wrestler has been able to deliver more than one decent performance. When producers can't find any real actors and have no money to work with, they'll turn to a wrestler in the hope of boosting their film's profile a tiny bit. But it doesn't work, most of the time. From Hulk Hogan's on-screen stink as a Santa to The Rock's Tooth Fairy, today we're looking at the top 10 worst movies starring WWE wrestlers. Let's begin. Number 10. Hulk Hogan, Santa with Muscles. When I think of Santa, I don't exactly think of Hulk Hogan, but that didn't stop Santa with Muscles to be created in 1996. Hulk Hogan plays a criminal who dressed up as Santa Claus to disguise from the police. Hogan hits his head and suffers from amnesia, awaking to believe that he is the real Santa Claus. Suddenly, Hogan is a nice guy, helping to try and save a local orphanage. Yeah, I know how stupid this storyline sounds. Perhaps the only positive part of this movie is that it features a 13-year-old Mila Kunis. Why is this film so bad on this list of bad movies? It's because everyone seems to think so. The website IMDb actually has Santa with Muscles listed as one of the 100 worst movies of all time, which actually makes it worthy of a watch if you want to waste time. It was even voted at one point by the site as the single worst movie ever created. Beat that, Cena.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. Kurt Angle, Endgame. Kurt Angle has gone through some tough years in the past decade. Plagued by injuries, addiction, the Olympic gold medalist has often looked like a cheap knockoff of the original Kurt Angle that we all knew and loved. This terrible dumpster of a movie looks and sounds like a cheap knockoff of a real film. In Endgame, Angle plays a psychotic serial killer who likes to kill women after sex. This in turn means that the film is filled to the brim with Kurt Angle's orgasm faces and sounds, which will haunt your dreams for weeks after seeing it. Additionally, the film looks like it was produced on a budget of less than $1 and has all the production values of a parody movie. It's only worth checking out if you're the most diehard of Kurt Angle fans. Otherwise, it's probably best to ignore this visual reminder of a dark period in his life. Number 8. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Condemned. In a film that was supposed to be a starring vehicle for WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin, the film was a box office disappointment. The Condemned's premise was simple. 10 convicts are to fight each other to the death, with the winner gaining their freedom in the process. The big catch is that it's being broadcast on the internet as an ultimate reality show. While that sounds like a good action movie, the film's action takes precedence over any story that is being told. The film's cast includes the likes of Vinnie Jones, former WWE superstar Nathan Jones, Manu Bennett, and Rick Hoffman. The film only ended up making around $8 million at the box office and can be seen via DVD or multiple streaming platforms. While WWE Films has moved on to more family-friendly fare, it's safe to say that they didn't start on a good note. Number 7. Triple H, Blade Trinity. Triple H proved that not any wrestler will thrive after getting an appearance in a superhero film. Marvel character Blade received a movie franchise with Wesley Snipes playing the Vampire Hunter. The Blade franchise had 2 hit movies leading to Blade Trinity, with Triple H in it. Unfortunately for Triple H, Blade Trinity was the only movie of the 3 to be viewed negatively. It was a huge bust, with the franchise ending after this disappointing entry. Triple H's acting desires took a huge hit, with fewer roles coming his way after this failure. Maybe acting is not the right path for him, which is ironic because he has worked for WWE for decades. Number 6. Roddy Piper, Buy and Sell. In Buy and Sell, Roddy Piper is basically a barking, snarling, grunting brute called Cowboy, because nothing screams cowboy like a Canadian wrestler with a Scottish gimmick. Buy and Sell isn't a good movie by any means, but unlike a lot of the garbage on this list, it certainly is competent. It's made by actual film people with real actors. In fact, the main antagonist is Malcolm McDowell, who is undoubtedly one of the finest on-screen villains ever seen in cinema. Regardless of quality though, it's It's a pretty excellent piece of 80s nostalgia. It's hard to find on video or DVD because it only ever got a release in Australia and went straight to DVD too, but you can find it online now in a few different places. Check it out if you're in the mood for old school schlock. Just make sure you're ready to waste a few hours of your life. Won't be the first time though, right? Number 5. The Marine 2, Ted DiBiase. If you want to avoid starring in an awful movie, it would help to not be in a sequel where the original movie was awful as well. But that didn't stop Ted DiBiase from starring in The Marine 2. For those who saw John Cena's original movie, The Marine, this was exactly the same movie. For those who haven't seen either, consider yourself blessed. In this film, DiBiase is a Marine who is home from the war and is around with his wife until she's kidnapped by criminals as collateral for a crime they committed. Little do they know, they kidnapped the wife of a Marine who single-handedly defeats all the bad guys and saves his wife. I can understand wanting John Cena to pump his chest like an invisible gorilla in acting and throwing a nice compliment to military people everywhere, but was a sequel with the same story and a different star really necessary? The first movie wasn't all terrible, but a sequel that acts as a remake is a bad movie on any list. Number 4. Bending the Rules, Edge. This might be the highest rated movie on this list, even though it's just terrible. This mediocre movie didn't fail because it starred a wrestling superstar, Edge. He was pretty funny as a laid-back, quirky detective who gets away with his behavior because he also gets results. Instead, it's the other half of the starring duo, Jamie Kennedy, who is so annoying in his role as a neurotic lawyer that it ruins most of the movie. The movie has a pretty confusing plot. Fortunately, better days were ahead for Edge, who found himself in a starring role on Sci-Fi's underrated drama Haven after he retired from the ring. Oh wait, he's back in the ring now too. What a cool guy. Number 3. The Big Show, Knucklehead. The Big Show seems like a really good guy, as 7-foot-tall giants usually are. By all accounts, he's friendly, he's funny, and he's a great person to hang out with. So it's a shame that his theatrical debut in the first comedy produced by WWE Studios was the terrible Knucklehead, where he plays a 35-year-old orphan who gets hustled by a shifty manager into competing in a variety of prize fights in order to earn enough money to save the orphanage. Apparently, the comedy follows somewhere, but you'd have to look pretty hard to find it, unless you find something funny about crooked promoters holding a kid hostage in order to force Big Show to throw a fight. Yeah, this is something that happens. The movie was a critical and financial bomb, although Big Show would bounce back to guest star on several USA Network shows where he was cast in much better roles that made better use of his talents. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber's pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and you want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. The Rock, the Tooth Fairy. While The Rock is now a huge movie star, he does have his share of regrettable role choices before he managed to reach the top of the mountain. You know, skeletons in the closet. At one point, Rock was clearly in a stage of his life where he wanted to make some family-friendly Disney movies. Some of them, like The Game Plan, weren't horrible. And then there's The Tooth Fairy, where Rock plays a hockey player who gets sentenced to spend 2 weeks as the Tooth Fairy and somehow learns a life lesson about letting kids use their imagination. Or something like that. I couldn't even complete the movie due to the massive cringe. The movie uses something called amnesia dust in order to cover up all the potential plot holes that should tell you how much effort went into writing a coherent script. And yet, because it was a family-rated Disney movie, it still made over $100 million at the box office. Number 1. No Holds Barred, Hulk Hogan. Have you ever watched a movie so bad it was actually fun? That's literally what happens with No Holds Barred. It was so awful, it's actually delightful. There's nothing too significant about the plot, as Hogan plays a wrestler named Rip Taylor who refuses to work for a cable network. The evil network execs hold a tournament which is won by Zeus, who eventually challenges Rip to a match. In between all of this, there's a spy working for the network who is assaulted and kidnapped. All the drama leads to the epic match in which Rip is victorious. The acting in No Holds Barred is downright terrible, but if you were going to watch any of the movies that made this list, I would say watch this one, at least for the unintended humor. I've seen this movie more than any other on this list, just to give myself a good laugh. You should definitely too, because who doesn't deserve a good laugh, right? Which one of these movies have you watched before? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.